Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He is mostly well known for ending the death penalty in the state of California through a moratorium. He expanded healthcare within the state of California and was also a lead proponent in legalizing same-sex marriage. Also widely known for one of the most strictest lockdowns within the country and also breaking his own rules. This ended up with many Republicans and independents combining together to sign a petition to recall Governor Gavin Newsom. And of course, Newsom's popularity was, of course, dropping slowly, of course. And it did kind of look like that the recall could have been successful, of course. It was a very narrow lead for the no to keep Newsom in, as most polls barely had the no section above 50%. However, that all changed when a certain individual decided to run for governor, Larry Elder. Now, at first, when Larry Elder announced he was running for governor, a lot of this immediately nationalized the race, and polling essentially skyrocketed to no. Now, once you take a look at this, you might say, wait a minute, something doesn't seem right. Because Larry Elder isn't a typical Republican. He's a lot more libertarian than you bring, and he has more loyalties to the Libertarian Party than he does Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Larry Elder was against the Donald Trump's immigration policy, such as a border wall and, strict immigration. And he's also a free trader, the opposite of Donald Trump. So it's pretty much that he's more libertarian than he is a Trump Republican. However, this another example of the Democrats and the media, controlling the narrative. They essentially pushed that Larry Elder was the Trump pick for governor of California, and it immediately nationalized the race and pretty much made it impossible for Republicans to get rid of Gavin Newsom. And here was the final results. It was essentially a statistical repeat of the 2018 California gubernatorial election. Every single county, with the exception of San Bernardino County, was the exact same result. And taking a look at the, replacement vote county map, Larry Elder essentially won every single county with the one except San Francisco. Now, this is because Democrats did not vote on the second question. They only voted to keep Gavin Newsom, but they didn't vote for a replacement. Only Republicans voted for a replacement. And some independents and Democrats too, but most Democrats didn't vote for a replacement for Gavin Newsom. But now let's ask the age-old question, what if Gavin Newsom was recalled? Now, immediately, the only way this works is if Larry Elder never runs. Because if Elder never runs, then more likely than not, Newsom most likely would have been recalled. If not, it would have been a lot more narrower than, it was IRL. The first person you could think of is Kevin Faulconer, the former mayor of San Diego, and probably the only Republican who has a chance at ever becoming governor of Florida or governor of California in this day and age. We still have the future, so there could be a Rockefeller Republican who may win statewide in California. We just have to wait and find out. However, he was the mayor of a county that went to Joe Biden by 23 percentage points. And the odds of him winning San Diego County in a recall election, or in a, I guess you could say, and having him, so the odds of him winning San Diego County in a, general is very slim if he were to run, just against Newsom in 2022, which he didn't. So, and we also have to think about that. If the Democrats never, campaign on voters only voting to keep Newsom and not voting for a recall candidate, Democrats are going to be voting for a replacement, and that person's going to be a Democrat. So, who would replace Newsom if he was recalled, along with all these Democrats voting for a replacement? That person is going to be a YouTuber named Kevin Paffreth. Yes, Kevin Paffreth would become the governor of California post the recall election. He would be a Democrat. He would be a dino pretty much. However, he would still have very economic populist but socially moderate views, so a moderate populist, I guess you could say. Wink, wink. Paffrath would be elected very narrowly over Kevin Faulconer. On the left, you can see the recall map. In green are the counties that would have voted to recall Newsom, and on the right, or in the red, is going to be the states that keep Newsom, or the counties that keep Newsom. Again, this would be a very non-polarized election. It would essentially be a thing where Democrats didn't turn out, and if they did, they just, voted to keep Newsom, but also voted to bring in Paffrath just in case he lost, and just in case he was recalled. So Paffrath is elected the governor of California, and immediately you see a shift in policy when it comes to, the governor and, a Democrat. Of course, Paffrath would have a very favorable legislature behind him, considering he's a Democrat, and you have a lot of moderate Democrats in the California legislature, but also a lot of progressives that could pass a lot of economically progressive policy under Paffrath. Some things we might see, of course, the COVID restrictions would end under Kevin Paffrath within his first year in office, which would give a boost to the economy, which we do see a huge boost to the economy due to this, due to businesses in California, going back to full capacity. Homelessness would drop under California. However, Kevin Paffrath would take some heat because it wouldn't drop as much as he promised in his first 60 days. However, homelessness does decrease drastically within the first year, giving him a high, favorability. Of course, the death penalty moratorium would still occur under Paffrath. Also, something else about the energy crisis in California, Kevin Paffrath would still take a lot of heat for that. However, we probably would not see the whole energy crisis as big as it was under Newsom. The only reason why it was so big is because, well, here's the thing. Newsom and the government, California government, told voters to stop charging their electric vehicles because they essentially said they banned gas vehicles. Paffrath wouldn't have banned gas vehicles. However, he would still put funding into electric vehicles, but we'd still see a lot of gas-powered vehicles in the state of California. The energy crisis would still be bad, but just not as bad under Newsom. If Newsom was a 10, Paffrath would be like a 6 or a 7. Now, what about the 2022 gubernatorial election? Paffrath most likely runs for a first full term, but who is he running against? Well, under California recall laws, a recalled governor can run again, and more likely than not, Gavin Newsom probably ends up running again for governor. And yeah, it's most likely going to be him and Paffrath going on to the runoff, so Republicans are pretty much shit out of luck to know Brian Dahl runs against Newsom. However, Paffrath would probably have an approval around 55 to 58%, which is a pretty high approval due to the economy in California. Well, the energy crisis does hurt him a little bit. Homelessness has decreased quite a bit. Healthcare might have been increased under Paffrath. We don't know. But, Paffrath would do well with the rural voters. He'd win probably 80 to 85% of Republican voters. He probably wins around 60% of independent voters and around 20 to 25% of Democrat voters because he is the incumbent Democrat governor, and low IQ Dem voters would probably vote for him because he's the incumbent Democrat. So Paffrath would most likely narrowly win this election by around 2 percentage points, 2 or 3 points over Gavin Newsom. Again, winning all these suburban and rural areas, while Newsom wins all the big cities and the urban areas. However, Paffrath would win enough of the Democrat vote to narrowly beat out Newsom, winning a first full term, and Newsom's political career is essentially done for. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. What do you think? Do you think Kevin Paffrath would have been the governor if Newsom was recalled? Do you think it would have been Faulconer? Tell me down in the comment section below. This is the Chaotic One saying, peace.